Canon just released a bunch of firmware updates. Firmware 1.9 for the Canon EOS R5, firmware 1.5 for the Canon EOS R3, 1.2 for the Canon EOS R6 Mark II, and even the R8 got a firmware update along with the 1DX Mark III. Stick around after this short break for all the details. But first, subscribe to this channel for a chance to win a Canon EOS R5. I'll be giving one away to one lucky subscriber once this channel reaches 100,000 subscribers. Anyone above the age of 18 with a valid mailing address is eligible. Additional terms and conditions are linked in the description down below. First up is the Canon EOS 1DX Mark III, a 1 series DSLR camera that was announced back in January of 2020. It's not a huge update as you'd expect from an older camera, but it does provide compatibility and, well, it also provides a few bug fixes as well. Canon says that with the Canon remote application, it's now possible to register the focus position in the preset function of the CR-A100. When used with the CR-S700R robotic camera system, it makes it easier for the photographer to focus on the intended subject, distance, and shoot. It's also now possible to erase only the voice memos attached to images. In addition, it's also possible to add voice memos to protected images. Enhanced security is provided when sending captured images via FTPS, and of course, various minor bug fixes. And now for some newer, modern cameras, the Canon EOS R8, a camera that hasn't been around for a very long time, and it also didn't get a very big update either. Firmware 1.1.0 added support functions for Software Development Support Kit, the ED-SDK CC API, and that's for digital cameras, and of course various minor bug fixes. And now for the Canon EOS R6 Mark II. It certainly gets a more broader, more feature, more enhancements and bug fixes than the Canon EOS R8. Not a huge amount. The Canon EOS R6 Mark II was announced back in, well, November the 2nd of 2022. It's been selling quite well with various enhancements to not only the video, but also the stills capabilities of this camera. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this firmware update brought. I was just talking about this on Twitter a few days ago, but the Canon RF 5.2mm f2.8 dual fisheye camera is now supported by the Canon EOS R6 Mark II. It gets enhanced security when sending captured images via FTPS. And it also gets added support functions for the Software Development Kit ED-SDK CC API for digital cameras. And like any other firmware update, it does provide minor bug fixes, so minor that they're not even listed here. And now for one of the most anticipated firmware updates, the Canon EOS R5. The Canon EOS R5 gets firmware update 1.9, and I'm going to caution you a little bit, this isn't the big firmware update that we were promised by rumor sites. Remember, not by Canon themselves. We do get firmware 1.9 that provides various enhancements and bug fixes, and you can probably guess at some of them already because, well, we talked about it in the R6 Mark II, the R8, and the 1DX Mark III. So without further ado, without any further teasing, let's go ahead and take a look at the enhancements and bug fixes for the Canon EOS R5 firmware update 1.9. It's now possible to erase voice only from memos attached to images. And of course, like the other firmware updates, it's also now possible to add voice memos to protected images. You get that enhanced security when sending captured images via FTPS, and it adds support functions for their Software Development Kit, the ED-SDK CC API for digital cameras. But some of you have been looking forward to this fix, a phenomenon in which the camera operation was rarely effective after touch operation, and busy was displayed even when the camera was operated. And of course, it fixes various minor bug fixes. In a way, you could say I'm saving the best for last. You see, the Canon EOS R3 gets far more enhancements and bug fixes, or shall I say bug fixes than enhancements, over all the other cameras here listed. Canon's been very busy. We got a lot of firmware updates today, and the R3 by far has the biggest, so let's get right to that camera. Firmware 1.5.1 for the R3 fixes the camera remote application. It's now possible to register the focus position in the preset function of the CR-A100. When used with a CR-S700R robotic camera system, it makes it easier for the photographer to focus on the intended subject, distance, and shoot. And as you can see here, these are the exact same fixes and enhancements we've seen in the other cameras, the enhanced security. But then the fourth update, if you press the exposure compensation aperture value setting button while looking through the viewfinder, you can check the time in the viewfinder. So that's a new enhancement that we're not seeing in the other firmware updates, not even on the Canon EOS R5. And like the R5, it fixes a phenomenon in which the camera operation was rarely effective after touch operation and busy was displayed even when the camera was operated. It fixes a phenomenon in which the viewfinder and monitor screen were displayed and shooting was not possible in rare cases due to the operation of the AF on button and the timing of the viewfinder on sensor. And of course, it fixed various minor bugs. So there you go. We've got 5 firmware updates today for all the major Canon cameras out today. It's pretty impressive. Yes, no firmware update for the Canon EOS R6, no love there, but even if you do have the R5, the R3, the R8, the R6 Mark II, the 1DX Mark III, there weren't a lot of enhancements. This was what I would call, well, a bit of a maintenance update. And even though that's the case, I still welcome the firmware updates. This would mark, I think, what, the 12th firmware update that Canon has delivered to the Canon EOS R5. Now, Canon Rumors has said in the past that we are supposed to get a big firmware update before the year end. Now, will that happen? Well, let me check my watch. It's still September. So we still have October, November, and December for our firmware update. And if I check my memory, yep, we have had firmware updates in any of those months. So even up until December, it's still possible to get a major firmware update. Now, as far as removing that 30-second record limit, as we're getting really close to 2024, this is something they could have done right out of the box, and they haven't. In fact, Canon has removed that 30-minute record limit from a lot of their cameras through the release of a Mark II, a Mark III, or something else, or a whole new camera like the Canon EOS R8. We haven't seen them remove it in a firmware update, and for whatever reason, licensing most likely, they haven't decided to do that. Now, there are other enhancements we're supposed to be getting with the Canon EOS R5, pre-shooting buffer and the like, enhancements to the autofocus system. I think those are they're far more likely to see in a Canon EOS R5 firmware update to help keep the camera a bit more current, even as we go into next year when we are expecting a refresh in the Mark II. And even with the Canon EOS R5 Mark II getting a 62 megapixel sensor, a new image processor, a stacked sensor, which is pretty impressive, and even if it does get dual CF Express B cards, dual CF Express Type B cards, that would be nice. I would really look forward to that. But still, it doesn't mean that they'll completely abandon this camera. The R6 has still received firmware updates, although not this time around, after the announcement of the R6 Mark II. The R5, even being kept on the market, will still sell for a discount over $1,000 to the R5 Mark II. And we see this even today. You can buy the old 5 Series DSLR, the 5D Mark IV. It's still selling for around, what, $2,200 on B&H, Adorama, and other camera stores. So the R5 Mark I isn't going to go anywhere even after the R5 Mark II is on the market. Now, maybe the 5D Mark IV might disappear, but I can't see the R5 disappearing. So if you want to stay up to date on the latest camera gear news and rumors, especially firmware updates for the Canon EOS R5 and other Canon cameras, or if Sony finally decides to give us a firmware update for their cameras without taking away support for third-party batteries or anything like that, then go ahead and subscribe, but make sure you also choose all notifications. And for all the minor news and rumor updates, for all those things that aren't quite big enough to have their own separate video, like pricing information, then go ahead and follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, through this address here. And if you're a supporter of this channel, then one other way you can help me out is whenever you're purchasing camera gear from Amazon.com, B&H, or Adorama, please consider using my affiliate links right here, because I get anywhere from 2 to 12% back, and it really does help support this channel. But that's it for now. Have yourself a great day, and we'll see you again soon.